Can you imagine how crazy your life would be if you were an Arab prince? How free would you be with all that money? What kind of things would you buy in the places you would go? Well, Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud has never had to imagine. Welcome to Luxurious Vibe. Today, let's talk about the trillionaire life of King Salman. He was born to an Arab prince and is now the king of one of the world's wealthiest nations and the head of the world's wealthiest monarchy. And nothing will prepare you for how lavishly this king spends his fortune. The House of Saud. Before we get into King Salman's trillionaire lifestyle, it's necessary to understand where the billions come from. King Salman took power in 2015 at the age of 79, succeeding his elder brother Abdullah, who was king at the time. As King Salman took control of the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia's throne, and the state-owned oil company Aramco, which accounts for the vast majority of the family's wealth, Aramco now happens to be the world's second largest reserve for crude oil, and the royal family controls 98% of it at the time of making this video. The House of Saud is now very affluent with a net worth of $1.4 trillion. The royal family's 2,000 members share these boundless riches, yet they are all personally controlled by King Salman. The dynasty of Saud has built 12 beautiful palaces for whoever sits on the throne. The Al-Yamamah Palace in Riyadh, the Al-Yamamah Palace in Ad Diriyah, and the luxurious Erga Palace are three of the richest. The Al-Yamamah Palace. The beautiful Al-Yamamah Palace is where King Salman bin Abdulaziz works. It is in the middle of Riyadh, the capital city of Saudi Arabia. It functions as both a functional palace and a royal court for the monarch. The palace's facade, with its geometric patterns and pointed arch windows, seems both futuristic and exquisite, but it's the inside that really reflects King Salman's love for luxury. There are some amazing chandeliers that may be considered works of art in their own right, luxurious carpets, magnificent antiques, and a plethora of gold. It's impossible to put a price tag on this palace, but I'd say it's in the hundreds of millions. People say that when King Salman gets tired of this castle's beauty, he will move to the older and less fancy Al-Yamamah Palace. The Al-Yamamah Palace. The Al-Yamamah court is substantially more contemporary than this palace. It has ornate carvings and black and white images of Riyadh on its walls, similar to the Al-Yamamah court. However, there isn't as much gold as in Al-Yamamah, but don't be misled. The palace is one of the oldest on the planet and so precious. If you're looking for another golden palace, the Erga Palace is a gentle reminder that King Salman has more than enough money to build as many Al-Yamamahs as he wants. The Erga Palace. Most of the king's diplomatic visits are received at Erga Palace. Back in 2015, a freshly inaugurated King Salman welcomed Barack Obama in the palace. And can you notice what's smack in the center of them? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a golden tissue dispenser. I warned you that King Salman is serious about his objectives. So if tissue dispensers can't escape the gold treatment, imagine what else in the palace is coated in gold. But don't get too excited just yet, since it's one thing to have a golden palace, but it's quite another to deck a fleet of planes in the same precious metal. The many jet planes of King Salman. In addition to his luxurious official 747-400, King Salman owns and flies no less than 6 other planes. The Saudi Royal Air Force also has 2 Boeing 747-200s, a 777-300 and 7878, and an Airbus A340-200 dedicated to the king. The Royal Boeing 747-400 is a commercial plane that has been turned into a floating castle paradise for the monarch. This massive airliner is one of the world's largest passenger jets, with a capacity of over 600 passengers. There is no official footage of the interior for security concerns, but it is supposed to contain a throne room, meeting rooms, baths, and gold-covered beds, among other things. The typical cost of a Boeing 737 is $100 million, but King Salman has 2, so do the math. Keep in mind though that they are all custom designed and have gold interiors, and that his other 4 aircraft have identical attributes. I'm not sure how much it would cost to maintain all 6 planes, but I'd be amazed if the entire cost was less than $3 billion each year. And that's only a drop in the bucket for the king, considering what he spends on his diplomatic travels. The trip to Washington. In 2014, when the king went to Washington, D.C. on a diplomatic trip, he booked all 222 rooms at the Four Seasons building, and then, in true royal style, had the whole hotel redecorated. They were given the task of converting anything that wasn't gold into gold. Tables, mirrors, lights, and even hat racks had to be replaced, and all of these gold things were flown straight from Saudi Arabia. Some things aren't worth the money because they're so mind-boggling, and this is one of them. The monarch also directed that all carpets in the hotel be red, and that carpets be installed in the lower parking garage so that the king would not have to touch the barren ground. The 2017 trip to Russia. If you thought the 2014 trip was extravagant, you may want to sit back for this one. In 2017, King Salman traveled from Russia to Indonesia, Morocco, Tokyo, and a few other countries on diplomatic missions. Every trip was a show of how rich they were, so they spent a lot of money on it. On his trip to Russia, King Salman brought along 1,500 people, 1,764 pounds of food, his own furniture, and his own carpets. However, his golden escalator, which he used to get out of his jet, was the biggest draw. Regular escalators cost $8,000 per foot plus maintenance, so you can imagine how much a golden escalator would cost. But since gold is not a good metal for mechanically moving components, the royal gadget became stuck halfway down His Majesty's descent, forcing him to climb down like the rest of us. The monarch had reserved the Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons Hotel in Russia. Both hotels were full of the king's 1,000-person entourage. So permanent residents had to move out for a short time, and other visitors had to cancel their reservations. All of these reservations cost Monarch Salman $3 million, which is a pittance for the king, even with room service. King Salman is said to have rented 200 cars for his group and spent an estimated $100 million during his trip to Russia. In Morocco, the monarch repeated his expenditures. He paid $100 million for one of the country's most expensive homes, a 74-acre estate that is yet to be identified. The remainder of the team was sleeping in 800 rooms at one of Morocco's best costly hotels. Yes, they had reserved the whole hotel. We aim to bring you videos about luxury and fine living and create a community for luxury enthusiasts. If you liked the video so far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. Trip to Tokyo. King Salman knew there would be a problem with their bags when they went to Tokyo, so he rented a Royal Netherlands Air Force Lockheed C-130 Hercules jet for $14 million. This military plane was made to carry tanks and other big things over long distances. But the monarch changed its purpose to carry his luggage and 2 Mercedes-Benz S600 cars, which he used as his official cars while he was in Tokyo. Then, he made reservations for nearly 1,200 rooms in Tokyo's best hotels, and 500 limos to get everyone there and back. Later, in France, the monarch would do the same thing. The trip to Indonesia. When the monarch arrived in Indonesia later that year, his personal belongings weighed 506 tons and had been organized and transported in 7 massive transport planes, including the C-130 Hercules and Boeing 747s. This time, King Salman was escorted by 100 bodyguards, who may cost up to $35,000 per hour. He was accompanied by 25 princes, 10 ministers, and at least 1,500 more individuals. The net worth of the people in his entourage alone was in the tens of billions of dollars, and they all arrived 3 weeks ahead of the king on 36 aircraft. It was no surprise that the monarch had extremely precise luxury requirements, as he did in every other nation he had visited. Most famously, he asked for a special toilet to be built for him in a mosque he was visiting. I imagine it was gold-plated. In fact, the stress of his demands were so high that the air freight business in charge of his transit allegedly needed 572 people just to manage his package. You may be asking why King Salman needs to travel with so many people at this stage, and the reason is simpler than you think. On the one hand, the king has highly particular demands, and at least 150 of his entourage's 1,500 individuals are skilled cooks in charge of preparing special food for him. His staff and the Saudi princess who go with him are all part of his entourage. In fact, they have been known to replace the staff at hotels booked by the monarch with their own servants. As expected, the king's love of wealth, comfort, and style has not been ignored by family members who have tried to take advantage of him. The most costly case concerned Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, King Salman's nephew. He put in an order to turn the Airbus A380 Super Jumbo, which is the world's largest and roomiest plane, into a high-end private jet. The goal of the $485 million project was to set a new world record for luxury private jets. There were plans for 5 luxury rooms to be linked by large stairs and elevators. Plans called for a music hall, a Turkish bath with marble furniture, a steam room, a theater, parking for expensive cars, and a mosque with electric mats that automatically turned to face Mecca. You'd enter the aircraft and forget you were in one. That was the plan, and the prince planned to give the jet back to King Salman when he was done, but at a higher price. However, the plan never came to fruition. The project stagnated and finally came to a standstill. Today, an empty A380 with its inside ripped out rots in a French hangar as a reminder of the House of Saud and its obnoxious king. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy similar stuff, check out my other videos, and if you like it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.